Yeah, failed out 3 times.
Wow.
One of them was coming back into Low Chow. We was flying along, and this ack shell come up through the ship. I was sitting there, and it came up through the top of the ship as near as I could remember. Anyway, it went on through, and when it burst, why, I lost my right ear. The tail gunner was still back in the back, and he couldn't, there's no way he could get out. I told him, well, you crawl up here, and we'll see if we can't rig something so we can both go out with my parachute. And he was a little fella. Of course, you can't get in that tail turret unless you are pretty small. And so, anyway, he got up there, and I told him, I said, well, let's get down here on the Bombay. We don't have much time. We finally got him on the Bombay, and he come up, he said, well, I don't have anything but my harness. I said, well, snap the thing on my, and I said, we'll try my parachute. So we came down that way, and both of us were lucky. We never really got hurt, but we could have because we had twice the amount of weight in that parachute, you know. But when we got down close to the ground, we were right close to a cliff, and I reached up and pulled the shroud line and pulled us over so our parachute would catch in the trees. And I told him, I said, we've got to try and get the parachute hanging in those trees, otherwise we're going to break our legs when we land. So, but we were lucky. We were really lucky because I could pull that shroud line and slip it into the trees, and the trees caught the parachute cords, and it slapped us down pretty hard, but it immediately pulled us back up too, you know, and so we just took our suits off and walked out. Of course, when you got on the ground, well, you had to roll that parachute up and get it hid out or bury it or do something with it. So, yeah. At that time where we just buried our parachutes and then started back to the base. And there were some of these college girls from the coast. They'd run away from the Japs down on the coast, and they were in the back country helping the airmen get back. So we ran into 2 of them about the 3rd day, and they brought us back to the base. It seems to me it was Low Chow. Somewhere in there I've got my Caterpillar Club paperwork, and that was the one that I got my Caterpillar Club on, I think. Okay.
So one time in Yangtze River, one time in Luchao, and a 3rd time, do you remember where the 3rd time was?
I think it was down close to the Leader Road.
So you guys ruined 3 airplanes.
Huh?
You guys wrecked 3 airplanes.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah, well, we used them up pretty fast. Yeah, there was 2 or 3 of them killed, but most of the time we'd get down, and then if they were killed after we were down, why, the rest of us never did see them, you know. And so, but we had to make a report that who was with us when we got back to debriefing, and once they got it back there, the security people, they said, it's hush now, we've had the meeting and that's it. So we never heard of anything after that. So many times, once in a while we'd find somebody that would bring in a body, and then we'd find out, but other than that, yeah, there's so much of that, you know. You run into that everywhere over there. Well, you wonder where he is, and everything would go mum, you know. You go asking a question, and first thing you couldn't hear a thing, you know. And I guess it was good because our security saved our hides in many different ways, you know.
So you weren't too afraid going on these missions.
But
You weren't too afraid.
well, I can't say I wasn't afraid, but I was more conditioned than a lot of them because I was raised on a cattle ranch, and I hunted, and by the time I'd went over there, I'd had 2 or 3 elk and 2 or 3 deer down. Some of them with a rifle, some of them with a bow, and I hunted muskrats and trapped muskrats, and so I was good with a knife. So backcountry living wasn't a new thing to me. I was able to cope and pretty well versed in all of the requirements to make a living when I was in the backcountry.
But when you were up in the air, people were shooting at you.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, people were shooting
Oh,
at
yeah.
your airplane.
Yeah.
That must have been pretty frightening.
Well, there's not too many places you can go about that time. You gotta. I'll have to say I was a little scared, but my biggest problem was where's this airplane going to be? You know, if I got to stay with it, I'd like to know what I'm going to do when this thing lands, or if we get shot down, or there's a lot of things go through your mind at that time. But
Well, when you guys were out over the ocean, could you bail out over the ocean?
I could have bailed out, but I never had to bail out over the ocean.
I mean, when you got in the water, it seems like you'd be out of luck.
Yeah.
You know? Well, I don't know, did you guys have boats or rubber rafts or?
No, but I had a canvas jacket, and you tie the legs and there's arms on it, there's everything. And pop it in the water and then snap it real light, turn it upside down, and you got a float. And that's what I'd used, you know. Once it's wet, why, it takes a long time to leak the air out of it, and you can always fill it by snapping it and pulling air down it, and then stick it back down in the water, and you got a float. It's not as good as a rubber ball, but it'll keep you afloat. And when I was with the Indian kids, why, I'd done a lot of floating on my back. I was able to, and I was a pretty good swimmer. So, but yes, they were radar missions. It's something that we couldn't talk too much about, but now that it's gone, why, I guess a little leeway, you know. But yeah, we started out on one, but I never completed that mission.